Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the craft of writing. We're basically taking a masterclass and turning it into a super practical toolkit for you. We're going to look at some of those classic mistakes that pretty much every writer makes, and this is the important part, how you can sidestep them to tell stories that really work. All right, here's what we're going to cover. We're starting small, right down at the sentence level, the words you choose. Then we'll zoom out to the bigger picture, building worlds that feel real and characters that, have a heartbeat. After that, we'll get into the rhythm and pacing of it all. And finally, we'll tackle the big one. What's the whole point of telling a story anyway? Okay, let's kick things off with the absolute basics, your words. It's so tempting, right? You want to sound all writerly and profound, but that temptation can lead you right down the path to, well, purple prose. That's when your beautiful words actually start getting in the way of the story. Okay, check out the difference here. On the left, with the evocative style, the language is simple, it's clean, and it pulls you right in. You can see the lake, but then you look at the purple prose on the right, and wow, it's just a lot. It's honestly exhausting to read because it's making you work way too hard. It feels like the writing is screaming, hey, look at all these big words I know, instead of just letting you experience the moment. So here's the bottom line. You've got to trust your reader. Seriously, your job isn't to impress them with your vocabulary. It's to invite them into an experience. Give them those solid sensory details, what things look like, sound like, feel like, and then let their imagination do some of the work. Clear writing is like a bridge connecting you to the reader, while all that ornate stuff, that just builds a wall between you. Okay, so we've talked about words. Let's zoom out a bit and talk about worlds. If you're writing fantasy or sci-fi, you have to explain how your world works. But if you do it the wrong way, man, it can stop your story dead in its tracks. And that, my friends, is the infamous, the dreaded info dump. And I mean, just look at the difference here. The example on the left, that's basically a history textbook dropping into the middle of your story. It's so dry, but on the right, see what's happening? It's the exact same information, but it's coming out through a conversation. It feels totally natural, it keeps the story moving, and best of all, we get to discover the world right along with the characters. And this is exactly why it works so well. It completely changes the game. An info dump becomes a moment of discovery. You're not being lectured at anymore. You're basically a detective, putting the puzzle of this world together. It makes everything feel so much more alive. And you actually remember the details because you learned them in a meaningful way. All right, so we've got our world figured out. But a cool world is just an empty stage without interesting people. And this brings us to another huge pitfall. A lot of writers think that if they just write a super detailed backstory, they've created a great character. But here's the thing, a list of stuff that happened in the past, that's not what makes a character feel real and breathing. And this is a really important question to ask, right? Is a backstory really enough? I mean, sure, it's good for context, it tells us where they came from. But if you lean on it too much, it just becomes a crutch. It can totally overshadow who the character is in the present, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what's going on inside their head right now. So what's the secret? It's this idea of psychological depth. Now, that sounds kind of academic, but it's actually a really simple and powerful concept. All it means is showing us, the reader, what it feels like to be inside that character's skin. We're not just watching things happen to them, we're experiencing it with them, from their point of view. And look, you can totally do this. There are some really practical ways. Instead of just telling us a character is sad, show us their shoulders slump. Let us hear a little bit of their inner thoughts. And when a big plot point happens, don't just rush to the next thing. Take a second. Show us how it hits them, how it changes what's going on inside. Okay, great. So we've got a cool setting, we've got characters with a real inner life. Now what? Now we talk about rhythm. The pulse of your story. Because here's the thing, not every scene can be a 10 out of 10 on the intensity scale. Learning how to control that flow is absolutely crucial for keeping your readers hooked from page one. And I absolutely love this concept they talk about, the narrative dial. Just picture it. It's like you're in a recording studio and you've got this dial for every scene. You can turn it up for, say, a super gritty, detailed fight scene, or you can turn it way down for a soft, dreamy, reflective moment. You have total control over the vibe of every single scene. So let's say you're writing a big action scene. You want that high energy, edge of your seat feeling. Well, you crank that dial. And your sentences, they get short, punchy. Bam, bam, bam. They start to mirror the action itself. That speed, that impact. It pulls the reader right into the middle of the fight. But then, what if you want the total opposite? Maybe it's a dream sequence or a flashback. You just turn that dial in the other direction. Now, your sentences get long and flowing, almost poetic. You use more symbols, more metaphors. And what this does is it basically stretches out time, making everything feel kind of hazy and otherworldly. It's a completely different reading experience. And this leads to another super important point, managing the ebb and flow of a spectacle. Think about it. You can't just have your story be nonstop action, climax after climax. That's like a song that's just one long guitar solo. It's exhausting. You absolutely need those quieter moments, those breathers, so the reader can process what just happened and get ready for what's next. And this is a big one. Spectacle doesn't just mean explosions and fight scenes. Not at all. A spectacle is any moment that's designed to hit you right in the feels. It could be a really intense, heartbreaking conversation. It could be a jaw-dropping description of a sunset. It could be a quiet, intimate moment between two characters. All of that? That's spectacle. Okay, so we've talked about words, worlds, characters, pacing, all these tools and techniques. But what for? What are we actually trying to do with all this stuff? What's the real goal here? Well, the answer is actually way simpler and maybe even more powerful than you'd expect. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? A great story isn't just about having good prose, or a cool plot, or deep characters, or strong emotion. It's not any one of those things. It's all of them, working together all the time. It really is like a symphony. Every single piece has to be in harmony to create something that truly resonates. And that right there, that is the goal. It's to create an experience. It's to write something that actually moves a reader on an emotional level. You want them to laugh when your character laughs, to feel their heartbreak, to get angry for them. That's what good storytelling does. It taps right into our human ability to feel for other people. So, what this all boils down to is this: focus on what actually matters. Stop worrying about all the stuff that beginners get hung up on, like waiting around for inspiration. You can tell a mind-blowing story about literally anything. A coffee pot, a tree, whatever. You don't always need a big bad villain. The real point, the only point, is to tell a story that's worth telling. So, I want to leave you with this one last thought. Just take a second and think about a story that made you feel everything. A book, a movie, anything. One that really, truly got to you. Because that feeling, that emotional connection, that's the magic. That's what this is all about. It's what we're all chasing, whether we're the one telling the story or the one experiencing it.